He laughed once. Short. Sharp. No, you don't. People moved past them. Shoes clicked. Phones buzzed. No one slowed down. He stepped in front of her. Blocked her path. Badge, he said. Lena looked at his chest. No badge. No logo. Just a white shirt and a confidence that didn't belong to him. I don't answer to you, she said. His smile thinned. Everyone answers to someone, he replied. Especially people like you. Her fingers tightened around her folder. What does that mean? She asked. He leaned in, close enough that she smelled coffee on his breath. It means you don't walk around here like you own the place. A security guard stood 10 feet away. Watching. Silent. Lena looked past the man. Are you going to say something? She asked the guard. The guard shifted his weight. Look down. The man chuckled. See, he said. Nobody's on your side. Lena felt heat rise in her chest. Not fear. Not yet. Something heavier. She stepped around him. He grabbed her wrist. Hard. Don't ignore me, he said. The elevator dinged behind them, and a voice Lena knew very well said, calm and cold. Let her go. Lena sat at the edge of the conference table. Not by choice. Every other seat was already taken when she arrived. The empty one waited for her at the corner, half turned away from the screen. Mark noticed. He always did. Is that seat okay for you? He asked. The room laughed softly. Lena nodded. It's fine. Mark leaned back in his chair. Good. Wouldn't want you blocking anyone important. Her jaw tightened. She said nothing. The meeting moved fast. Numbers. Deadlines. Acronyms thrown like weapons. Mark pointed at the screen. Lena, since you're new, maybe you can tell us what this graph means. All eyes turned. She stood. Calm. It shows customer churn after the third quarter, she said. Specifically tied to. Mark cut her off. In simple terms. A pause. She looked at him. That is simple. A few people shifted. Someone coughed. Mark smiled. Right. Of course. He turned back to the room. Let's move on. Lena sat down slowly. Heat crept up her neck. She wrote one word in her notebook. Noted. After the meeting, she walked toward her desk. Mark followed. Quick thing, he said. She stopped. Yes. He lowered his voice. Friendly now. Too friendly. You need to understand how things work here, he said. This is a serious environment. I know, Lena replied. He tilted his head. Do you? She met his eyes. Yes. He smiled again. Thin. Because some people come in thinking they're smarter than they are. She said nothing. He leaned closer. And when they embarrass themselves, it reflects badly on whoever let them in. Her chest tightened. Are you saying I embarrassed myself? She asked. Mark shrugged. I'm saying I'm watching. He walked away. Around her, keyboards clicked. Phones rang. Nobody looked up. At lunch, she sat alone. A woman from accounting passed her table. Hesitated. Then kept walking. Lena stared at her food. Appetite gone. This is intentional, she thought. Back at her desk, an email popped up. From Mark. Subject. Clarification needed. Her fingers hovered over the mouse. She opened it. Please confirm your role and credentials. There seems to be confusion. Her pulse quickened. She typed a response. Deleted it. Typed again. My role was defined during onboarding. She hit send. 3 minutes later, he appeared beside her desk. Did you get my email? He asked. Yes. And? My credentials are already on file. He crossed his arms. HR says otherwise. Her heart thudded. Then HR is mistaken, she said. Mark's eyes hardened. You sure you want to push back? He asked. She stood. I want to do my job, she replied. He leaned in, voice low. Then don't pretend you belong somewhere you don't. She felt the words land. Heavy. Meant to bruise. Around them, coworkers stared at screens. Mark straightened. I'll give you until end of day, he said. After that, I escalate. Escalate what? Lena asked. Misrepresentation, he said lightly. It's a serious issue. He walked away. Lena sat back down, hands shaking now. Not from fear. From anger. She opened her notebook. Wrote the time. Wrote his words. And underlined them twice. Lena arrived early the next morning. Too early. The office lights were still dim. The cleaning crew pushed carts down the hall. Coffee machines hummed like they were half awake. She liked it this way. Quiet meant space to think. She opened her laptop. Checked her calendar. 3 meetings. One with Mark. Her jaw tightened. At 9:07 a.m. he walked in. Morning, he said, loud enough for others to hear. She looked up. Good morning. He stopped at her desk. You look tense, he said. Everything okay? I'm fine. He smiled. You should smile when you talk. Makes people more comfortable. A few heads lifted. Lena held his gaze. I'm comfortable. Mark chuckled. See? That tone right there. Defensive. I'm answering your question. He leaned against her desk. I'm just trying to help you fit in, he said. This place has a culture. She nodded once. I'm aware. Are you? He asked. Because some people struggle here. What people? She asked. Mark's smile faded for half a second. You know, he said. People who don't adapt. He straightened and walked off. The meeting started 10 minutes later. Mark stood at the front, remote in hand. Today we're reviewing project risk, he said. Lena, you'll observe. She looked up. I was scheduled to present the analysis. He glanced at the screen. That must be an error. It was confirmed yesterday, she said. Silence spread across the room. Mark tilted his head. You sure about that? Yes. He sighed. Okay. Go ahead. Keep it brief. She stood. This analysis shows delays tied to internal approvals, she said. Specifically. Mark interrupted. Can you simplify that? She paused. It's already simplified. A few people shifted. One man stared at the table. Mark raised his eyebrows. There's no need to get emotional. I'm not emotional, she said. Your voice says otherwise, he replied. Relax. Heat crawled up her neck. She kept going. The data shows repeated sign-offs from the same managers. Mark clicked the remote. Her slide disappeared. That's enough, he said. We'll revisit later. She stared at the blank screen. Later never came. After the meeting, whispers followed her down the hall. She's difficult, someone said. She talks back, another replied. Lena stopped at the copier. Her hands shook as she pressed the buttons. They're building a story, she thought. About me. At noon, she got a message. Mark, conference room B. Now. She walked in. He was alone. The door closed behind her. You embarrassed me, he said. I presented what you asked for. No, he said. You challenged me. I corrected you. His eyes hardened. That's not your place. She crossed her arms. My place is doing my job. Mark stepped closer. You're on thin ice, he said. People already have questions about you. What questions? She asked. He shrugged. Where you came from? Who vouched for you? She felt the weight of the room. You don't have to answer those questions, he added. But I do. A beat. And I don't like being surprised. She held his gaze. I haven't lied about anything. Mark smiled slowly. That's not what I hear. Her stomach dropped. From who? He leaned back against the table. HR, he said. Security. Her pulse spiked. Security, she repeated. Badge access. Visitor logs, he said casually. Things like that. She breathed in. Slow. You're threatening me, she said. Mark laughed. No. I'm advising you. The door opened. 2 coworkers walked past. Looked in. Kept going. Mark lowered his voice. People like you, he said, should be grateful for opportunities. Her chest tightened. People like me? She asked. He straightened. Don't twist my words. I didn't, she said. You did. His jaw clenched. You want to survive here? He asked. She nodded once. Yes. Then stop pushing, he said. Stop writing things down. Stop acting like you're above correction. She said nothing. Mark opened the door. Smile more, he said. It helps. She walked out. At her desk, she sat very still. Around her, the office moved on. Phones rang. Emails sent. Lives continued. She opened her notebook. Wrote the time. Wrote the words. Circled security. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Unknown, are you okay? She stared at the screen. Then another message came. Unknown, I saw what happened. Be careful. Her heart pounded. She typed back. Lena, who is this? 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. No reply. Lena leaned back in her chair. The pressure pressed in from all sides now. Mark. HR. Security. Silence. And somewhere inside the building, someone was watching. Lena didn't sleep much that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard his voice. Smile more. People like you. Security. At 3:12 a.m., she sat up in bed and opened her laptop. She created a file. Work log personal. She typed the date. The times. The words. No opinions. No emotions. Just facts. At 7:58 a.m., she arrived at the office. Her badge beeped red. She tried again. Red. A security guard approached. Younger. Nervous. Can I help you? He asked. My badge isn't working, she said. He scanned it with his device. Frowned. Hold on. He spoke into his radio low. A pause. Then, yeah, she's here. Lena's stomach tightened. Mark appeared from the hallway. Right on time. Problem? He asked. The guard looked at him. Her access didn't register. Mark nodded slowly. That's odd. He turned to Lena. Did you update your credentials like I asked? I responded to your email, she said. He smiled for the guard. She's new, he said. Still learning procedures. The guard hesitated. Should I let her through? Mark paused. Just long enough. Go ahead, he said. For now. For now. Lena walked past them. Her hands shook as she reached her desk. Coworkers watched. Pretended not to. At 10:15 a.m., an email arrived. From HR. Subject, meeting request. Her chest tightened. She entered the HR office at 11 o'clock. 2 people sat inside. A man and a woman. Both smiling too much. Lena, the woman said. Have a seat. Lena sat. We've received concerns, the man said. What kind of concerns? Lena asked. The woman folded her hands. About communication style, she said. Tone. Lena blinked. Tone. Yes, the man said. Several colleagues feel you're combative. Lena breathed in. Can you give an example? She asked. They exchanged a glance. Meetings, the woman said. Questioning authority. I answered questions, Lena said. The man nodded. Perception matters. So does accuracy, Lena replied. The smiles faded slightly. Mark mentioned you take notes during conversations, the woman said. Yes. Why? Lena paused. Because I'm asked to, she said carefully. And because it helps me remember. The man leaned forward. It can feel distrustful, he said. Lena's pulse thudded. So I shouldn't write things down, she asked. The woman tilted her head. We're just encouraging harmony. Harmony. Lena nodded slowly. I'll keep that in mind, she said. They ended the meeting quickly. Too quickly. Back at her desk, Mark waited. How'd it go? He asked. Fine. He smiled. Good. He leaned closer. You see how things work now? He asked. She looked up at him. I see very clearly, she said. His smile froze. At lunch, she didn't sit alone. The woman from accounting slid into the chair across from her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Lena looked up. For what? For not saying anything, the woman said. Yesterday. Lena studied her face. Why now? Lena asked. The woman glanced around. Because I saw your badge this morning. Lena's chest tightened. They do this, the woman said. Slow pressure. Paper trails. Have you reported it? Lena asked. The woman shook her head. It never helps. Lena nodded. Thank you for telling me, she said. That afternoon, Mark sent another email. Subject, documentation policy. Effective immediately, personal note-taking during meetings is discouraged. Lena stared at the screen. Her hands trembled. She opened her notebook anyway. Wrote the email subject. Wrote the time. Circled discouraged. At 4:30 p.m., security walked past her desk. Slower this time. One of them glanced at her screen. Lena minimized the document. Her phone buzzed. Unknown, they're trying to trap you. Her heart raced. She typed. Lena, who are you? A pause. Then, unknown. Someone who's been here longer than Mark. Her breath caught. Lena, what should I do? 3 dots appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Unknown, write everything down. Off their system. Lena's pulse pounded. She closed her laptop. Looked around the office. Glass walls. Cameras. Eyes everywhere. She slipped her notebook into her bag. As she stood to leave, Mark appeared again. Early day, he asked. Long one, she replied. He smiled. Careful, he said. People who keep records start to look suspicious. She met his eyes. So do people who erase them, she said. His smile vanished. As she walked toward the elevator, she felt it again. That feeling. She wasn't just being watched. She was being prepared. For something much worse. Lena arrived early again. The office smelled of fresh coffee and recycled air. She walked past the security desk. 2 guards glanced at her. One lingered longer than usual. Her badge beeped green this time. Small victory. But she felt eyes on her. They always watched. Mark appeared from the stairwell, hands in pockets, leaning slightly against the wall. Morning, he said. His tone was casual, but his eyes scanned her like a predator. Morning, she replied. He walked beside her as she passed cubicles. You look tense, he said. I'm focused, Lena said. He chuckled. That's one way to put it. Another way is nervous. Her pulse quickened. People notice everything here, he added. Body language, tone, even the way you walk. I'm aware, she said, keeping her eyes forward. He smiled thinly. Good. Awareness helps. The first meeting was a briefing with the security team. Lena wasn't scheduled to attend. Mark turned to her. You'll observe. Learn how we operate. The guards shifted, eyes darting between her and Mark. She noted every glance, every pause, every subtle warning. One of them, the younger guard, tapped his radio. He looked at Lena, hesitant. Mark caught the movement. Everything okay? He asked. Yes, sir, the guard replied quickly. Mark nodded, then leaned toward Lena. See, even security knows their place. She clenched her fists under the table. During the meeting, Mark spoke about access logs, monitoring protocols, and reporting structures. And if someone steps out of line? Lena asked quietly. Mark looked at her sharply. They're noted. Security watches. HR watches. Management watches. She swallowed. All eyes. Everywhere. Afterward, she returned to her desk. Her notebook rested open. She began recording. Time, people, words, actions. Every subtle intimidation. Every lingering stare. Every passive threat. At lunch, she stepped outside. The city smelled of exhaust and baked bread. Her phone buzzed. The unknown number again. Unknown, don't trust HR. They're aligned with him. Her heart tightened. Lena, who is this? Unknown. Someone who knows how this building really works. Keep your records off their system. She looked around the crowded plaza below. Even in the open air, she felt confined. Back inside, Mark stopped her in the hallway. Good walk, he asked. Yes, Lena replied. He tilted his head. Be careful where you step. People talk. She met his eyes. I'm careful. He smiled. I'll take your word for it. When she reached her desk, her notebook was open. Her laptop pinged. A new email from Mark. Subject, security guidelines. Reminder, access to sensitive systems is monitored. Any off-network documentation is discouraged. Her stomach sank. She minimized the laptop. Opened her notebook anyway. Wrote, off-network documentation encouraged by unknown ally. Circled encouraged. She glanced up. Security guards patrolled, moving slowly, deliberately. Mark's voice came over the intercom. Remember, people are watching. Always. Her pulse raced. Every step, every breath measured. Around 3 p.m., the elevator doors opened. 2 guards walked past her desk. She froze. One glanced down at her notebook. Her hand went over it instinctively. Mark appeared at the doorway of his office. Watching. Smiling. You're thorough, he said. I'll give you that. Lena said nothing. Later, she walked past the break room. A co-worker, hesitant, whispered. Be careful. Security is taking notes on everyone now. She nodded. Slowly. I know. The day dragged. Each hour heavier than the last. At 5:02 p.m., her phone buzzed again. The unknown number. Unknown. They're planning to isolate you tomorrow. Prepare. Her heart thudded. She closed her laptop, grabbed her bag. As she reached the elevator, she paused. Across the hall, the younger guard lingered. Watching. Noticing. She stepped inside the elevator, pressing the button for the lobby. The doors began to close. And then Mark's voice cut through the faint music of the elevator speaker. Enjoy your evening. Remember who's in charge. The doors shut with a click. Her hands gripped the railing. She felt the weight of the building, the people, the system, all watching, all waiting. And she realized, tomorrow would be worse. The next morning, Lena arrived to an email she hadn't expected. Subject, Executive Review, 10 a.m. From, CEO Office. Her pulse quickened. The message was curt. No explanation, no context. She stepped into the elevator. Every floor felt heavier than the last. She imagined eyes on her from behind the panels, from the cameras. At the executive floor, the security guard held the door. No badge needed. Her presence was enough. Someone had cleared it. Mark appeared at the end of the hallway, arms crossed. His smile was sharp, predatory. Going up? He asked. Yes, Lena replied. Her voice calm, though her heart hammered. He fell in step beside her. The CEO doesn't usually meet newcomers. I understand, she said. He glanced at her. Curious, isn't it? How someone so junior gets pulled upstairs. She didn't answer. The elevator doors opened. Glass walls, polished floors, the faint hum of air systems. People in suits paused mid-step to glance at her, then looked away. A secretary appeared. Ms. Lena? Please follow me. Mark stopped just outside the doorway. After you, he said, smirking. She walked past him. He let her. The conference room was large. Floor-to-ceiling windows let sunlight spill across the table. The CEO was already seated. Calm, collected, eyes sharp. 2 other executives were present. "Good morning, Lena," the CEO said. Voice steady, controlled. "Good morning, sir," she said, sitting. "Take a seat anywhere," he said. "We'll begin shortly." Mark stayed behind the room's glass partition, pretending to review papers, but his presence was oppressive. Lena took a deep breath. Every muscle tense. The CEO gestured toward the screen. "Ms. Lena, we've been reviewing onboarding reports. I understand there were questions." "Yes," she said softly. "Some confusion about my role." He nodded. "Let's clarify. You are my personal consultant. Not an intern. Not temporary staff. You were brought in after several complaints about departmental culture." Lena blinked. Relief and disbelief fought inside her chest. Mark shifted. His face tightened. He had been acting like he held all the power. Yet here, she realized, it was reversed. The CEO continued. "You are here to observe, document, and report. Confidentially. All access granted." Lena's pulse steadied slightly. Mark's jaw twitched. His posture stiffened. The smugness was gone, replaced with a flicker of panic. "Are you clear?" the CEO asked. "Yes, sir," Lena said. A beat of silence. The CEO nodded toward her laptop. "You may begin." She connected her device to the conference screen. The first slide appeared. Departmental observations, culture and compliance. Her voice was calm but firm. "Over the past 3 weeks, I've documented several patterns in communication, workflow, and access control that indicate bias and intimidation in leadership practices." The slides included charts. Subtle but telling. Instances of delayed approvals, selective criticism, and access restrictions. Mark's face paled slightly as he leaned closer to the glass partition. "Shall we hear examples?" Lena said. For clarity. The slides advanced. Audio clips played. Mark's words, "Smile when you talk. People like you should be grateful. Don't pretend to belong." The room fell silent. Not a single executive spoke until the CEO cleared his throat. Mark tried to laugh. "Context, this is out of context." Lena ignored him. Her slides advanced. Emails, timestamped messages, notes, everything methodically documented. The CEO folded his arms. "Is this accurate, Ms. Lena?" "Yes, sir." The CEO nodded. "Then we have our next steps." Mark's face turned red. He finally realized the power had shifted. "Some of these behaviors," the CEO continued, "will be addressed immediately. Training, HR involvement, security oversight, accountability." Mark opened his mouth. She ignored him. Lena clicked to the final slide, recommendations and next steps. The CEO turned to her. "Excellent work. I appreciate your diligence." A wave of relief washed over her. Every tight muscle loosened slightly. Mark's shoulders slumped. He finally understood. He had underestimated her. The meeting ended. Executives filed out. Mark lingered, defeated but angry. "You played me," he said quietly once the door closed. "I did my job," Lena replied, her voice calm, steady. He scowled. "This isn't over." "Is it?" she asked. He glared. "Not by a long shot." She walked past him toward the elevator. The security guard nodded subtly at her. No words needed. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Unknown. The next phase begins tomorrow. Be ready." Her stomach tightened. And somewhere in the building, unseen eyes waited, watching every step she took. The morning sunlight hit the office floor through tinted glass. Lena's reflection shimmered in the panels as she walked past rows of cubicles. She felt the familiar weight of every eye, every camera, every monitor that might catch her. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Unknown. Today the truth comes out. She exhaled slowly. Today. At 9 a.m., Mark appeared at her desk. Smirk in place. Posture sharp. "Good morning," he said. "Ready for today?" "Yes," Lena replied, calm. He leaned slightly closer. "The CEO wants to see your preliminary notes before the review." Her pulse spiked. "I thought the meeting was confidential?" He shrugged. "Just a courtesy. Transparency." HR insisted. She looked at him, silent. He knew she was aware of his traps. By 10 a.m., she was escorted to the CEO's office again. This time, Mark lingered outside the door, pretending to work on a tablet. The CEO was already seated. Calm, collected. He gestured to the large chair across from him. "Lena," he said, voice steady. "Before we begin, I want to clarify your role once more." She nodded. "Yes, sir. You've been observing, documenting, and reporting for some time now." "Correct." "Yes." He glanced at a stack of her notes on the table. Her handwriting. Methodical. Precise. Excellent. The department has been under scrutiny. Certain behaviors, biased interactions, and access limitations needed a closer look. Lena felt a flush of relief. But there was more to come. The CEO leaned forward. You've also brought forward evidence, documentation, screenshots, emails, that reveal the true nature of certain managerial actions. Mark's voice sounded from the doorway. I don't know what she's saying. The CEO interrupted, cold and commanding. Mark, please step inside. He hesitated, then entered. Ms. Lena, the CEO continued, can you summarize your findings? She did. Slowly. Calmly. Every word weighed. Every fact precise. Every misrepresented email, every casual intimidation, every HR complaint manipulated. It all surfaced clearly, without embellishment. Mark's face hardened as he listened. He tried to interject twice, but the CEO's gaze silenced him. Then came the audio clips. Mark's own words, edited, played for the room. Smile when you talk. People like you should be grateful. Don't pretend to belong. The executives shifted. HR scribbled furiously. The CEO's expression remained steady, unreadable. Mark's smirk faltered. His eyes darted between Lena and the screen. The CEO leaned back. Ms. Lena, your diligence and accuracy are appreciated. Your documentation prevented a serious misrepresentation from affecting this department. Lena's chest tightened. Relief. Validation. But also a weight. Mark spoke, finally. This is ridiculous. I was just. Stop, the CEO said. Your behavior has been recorded and verified. Immediate consequences will follow. Lena remained seated. Calm. Mark's face flushed red. This isn't fair. The CEO's gaze didn't waver. Fairness is measured in accountability. You have been warned, coached, and documented. Yet these actions persisted. You've endangered trust and workflow. Mark's hands trembled slightly. He looked around. Coworkers avoided his eyes. Security subtly shifted. The CEO turned back to Lena. You are not only cleared of any wrongdoing, but will continue to oversee documentation of culture and compliance initiatives. Your work is now recognized at the executive level. Lena's pulse steadied. For the first time, she felt the room's energy shift. She was no longer the target, she was the authority. Mark's jaw tightened. He left the room abruptly. Silence followed him. The CEO nodded at Lena. Thank you. Your discretion, professionalism, and courage are noted. But remember, the work ahead is delicate. Trust must be maintained. Yes, sir, she said. She packed her notebook slowly, methodically. Every page accounted for. Every detail preserved. As she left the office, the security guard at the elevator gave her a subtle nod. Silent acknowledgement. Protection. Recognition. Outside the executive floor, whispers followed her. She passed coworkers who now looked at her with curiosity, some with respect. The narrative had shifted. Her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. Unknown, you did it. But the next challenge is larger. They know who you are now. Her fingers trembled slightly as she typed back. Lena, I'm ready. The elevator doors closed. The reflection of the building walls surrounded her like armor and threat at once. And in the hallways behind her, Mark's presence lingered, silent but seething. Tomorrow, the exposure would expand. The stakes would rise. And Lena realized something crucial. She had survived the first phase. But survival was not victory. The real reckoning was only beginning.